Time gating's a thing.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there kind of like going, "Are you telling me that this would be like 80 hours? Not in game hours, real world hours." Which actually brings us to our first topic of conversation. We're going to do a little crit think today, which is about when things go bad. Is it actually really good? This
Yes,
is
but also no.
this is basically the so bad it's good discussion that has plagued many mediums
That
over
has
the years.
plagued Bethesda.
It's plagued Bethesda. I don't even know if Bethesda necessarily falls into that camp. But, there was one famous game from a long time ago that I think Mandalore Gaming did a whole playthrough of that was like Mystery of the Druids. That was like so. That was like a point and click adventure, but it was just so inordinately bad that they that they just it became almost a cult classic because of how bad it
Okay.
really was. There was another one that I actually own that I haven't played yet called Acronox that came from Ion Storm, and
Oh,
in the same year, this is great. This is the amazing thing about Ion Storm. So they made Acronox, which was like the one everyone said was hilariously bad, maybe on purpose, maybe not. They had Daikatana, which was legendarily bad for being bad, and then they had Deus Ex, which was known as one of the greatest games of all time. So the three of those same year, they released all of them.
well,
Fascinating.
we can tell where their energy went.
Yes, we certainly can. All to Warren Spector, not to John Romero. But the other ones that we usually see as examples in movies, it's like usually The Room. It's the oh hi mark of of that genre, and the other one that they usually cite is like Indigo Prophecy. These games that just seem like they're so not even in terms of the bugs themselves, but just the whole game structure, the story. None of it makes any sense, but it's just kind of fascinating for the fact that it is so absolutely insane.
I think one of the games that Yahtzee said would have fallen under this would have been like Balan Wonderland, I think.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
know
completely understand.
he did the best and worst, best blandest
Yeah,
and
and
worst, I think,
worst.
this year.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I figure that there's a difference between being bland and being bad.
Yeah. And the fun thing about it is when he was discussing why he started doing that, it was because bland games in a lot of ways are worse than bad games.
Yeah, exactly.
Bland games are just like completely forgettable. You don't care about them at all. Bad games, though, you remember. Maybe for
Yeah.
the wrong reasons, but you remember.
Did he say Balan Wonderland was bad or bland? I couldn't remember.
Oh, I think that was bad, and I think it was actually the worst, if I remember from his list. I also
Oh, I think it
remember.
was.
I also remember big respect to Yahtzee because I was also in this camp. Best game of the year he had is Psychonauts 2, because
Worst you would be.
yes, which he was like. I mean, it was also a pretty, bland year, but but yeah, Psychonauts 2, which is not a bad game, but you should still play it. Hot take, but but my question is like, when do you get to a point where the game that you're playing, you can recognize that it's bad, but you still want to keep playing it in a lot of ways because it is so bad, you just have to see what happens next.
It's just like a train wreck. You can't look away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think in tabletop it's different because if a game's bad, you don't want to keep playing it.
Right.
Because usually if it's bad, it's either because generally if the game itself is bad, then you're not gonna want to keep playing it. Because
Right.
it's like, all right, well, it's not a video game. It's not pulling me through a story that is atrocious. But if the story is bad, it's all on your games master
Right. Right.
or the campaign that you're running if it's pre-written.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a video game pulls you through the narrative itself. It's not like you have person-to-person interaction with that as much. So
Sure.
I feel like that's like, okay, but I need to see what they decided to do with this.
Right. Right. Exactly.
One series I have been watching on YouTube of bad games,
Mm.
or so bad they're good or whatever, is the worst MMO ever series by Josh Strife Hayes.
Sure.
It is great. It is
Mhm.
terrible. He's playing pretty much every free-to-play MMO he can find.
It's a horrible landscape, I'll tell you.
It's a terrible landscape, but one of them he did called Otherland, I think.
Oh,
Or other I don't know if you've ever heard of that one.
no.
But it's when he started playing it, he's like, this is like the visuals are breathtaking for the time it is anyways. He's like, this is like amazing.
Mhm.
And then like it's offset by just how absolutely bonkersly bad some of the other systems and stuff are. But he's
Yeah.
like, but this is gorgeous. He's like, I have to keep playing this. He's like, how many people are playing this? I'm the only person in the world playing this game at the beginning. He did a 10-part series
Yeah.
of that. He's like, I want to get like all of these 4 achievements that like pretty much nobody has on Steam for this game, and I want to play through and see to the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So by the end, he's like, he went on the auction house and he's like, I'm the only person that's there's nothing posted here. This is weird on the MMO,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
By the end of it, he actually had like several other people that were playing the game because they were watching his series that were actually on. He had an interview with the people that owned it now and whatnot, and they actually fixed 1 or 2 issues because of his videos. Like the
good.
music wasn't playing, and it's like, oh, we can fix that. So they fixed that. It's
Sure.
like, it was, I listened to the entire series at work. I didn't see most of it. And I was like, I have no idea what this looks like, but you've painted such a good word artistry that I
Yeah.
don't need to look at it because it's just everything you're saying sounds great. Anyways,
Yeah.
TLDR, so bad that it was good.
Right. Right. Since he plays a lot of like the MMOs, did a certain title come up called Atlas?
Probably.
Okay. Because I figured that would probably be up his alley. Atlas was one of those big MMOs. It was a pirate-themed one. I think I might have mentioned it briefly on another episode. But it was legendarily, like, brokenly bad. Like, it just hilariously bad when it originally launched. I kind of figured that that's still out there. I don't know if it's ever gotten out of game preview, but it was out there. And then there was another one that I remember that was it was supposed to be a little bit like Diablo, but it was also incredibly like just so glitchingly bad that people were having fun completely exploiting it. I think Spiffing Brit did a bunch of videos about it. I want to say Valheim, but it's not. It's
No.
Van something. I can't remember because Valheim's a different subject altogether.
Valheim's apparently good.
Valheim's apparently very good and impressive for the team that actually built it. Very small team. But I think it started with a V. If anybody knows, go ahead and tell me.
No idea.
Go ahead and tell me in the
Tell
comments.
us in the comments.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it. Think a couple years back. I think it came out. Do you think it's I don't necessarily think that people who make those games go in with the idea that they're going to make a bad game. I think they go...
I hope not. I hope people do not. I mean, there is something to be said for making something intentionally bad on purpose.
Yeah.
Which is the entire premise of the movie, The Producers.
Right. Right.
Like there is an entire industry of subpar movies.
Right.
Not The Producers itself. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
But making subpar movies, I think in other countries, primarily, banking on them doing terribly because you can recoup the cost and make more for a flop than you can for a success.
Right. Right.
For what I don't remember the details of it, I don't think that exactly works in the gaming industry.
Right.
Um,
I remember this from the producers. It was basically the whole notion of the producers, for people that are not familiar with one of Mel Brooks' seminal works.
Also, if you haven't seen the producers, go watch it.
Go watch
especially
The
the one
Producers.
with Nathan Broderick in it.
You mean
The
Matthew
newer one?
Broderick and Nathan
Sorry.
Lane?
Yeah, thank you. I got him. I
Nathan,
just
Nathan
wanted
Broderick.
to combine them.
Yeah, exactly.
Nathan Broderick.
You made their couple name. Good job.
Yeah,
Nathan
I mean,
Broderick.
it's fine. The new version is really good. It's really, really,
Yes.
really good.
Yes.
If you're a fan of Doctor Who, it's got John Barrowman,
Oh.
who played Jack Harkness.
Mhm.
He actually plays one of the lead tenor for the Nazis,
Oh,
which
yes.
is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because
Does he get to
is
sing "Springtime for Hitler"?
I think he does. I
Okay,
think he does
perfect.
sing that. Which is just kind of hilarious because he's actually gay,
Yes.
or bi, either one. So it's like, wait, he's okay, but he's singing okay.
Yeah,
It's got Will Ferrell in probably one of the best roles I've ever seen Will Ferrell in.
Yes.
I'm not a big Will Ferrell fan, but he did great in that.
Yeah. I actually saw the original one that had Gene Wilder and Zero Mostel in it, and that still holds up very
That's
well.
it? Okay, I haven't seen the original, but I did like the new one. Anyways,
Yes.
you were saying,
Anyway.
spoiler.
Generally, what the producers was about is that there's this character, which would either be the Nathan Lane or the Zero Mostel, depending on what version you're looking at, that is never able to actually get like a play off the ground. Just produces flops all the time. Always trying to get funding for their movie, or their play, I should say. And then just like they keep losing money because it's just bad. So comes up with an idea with the help of either your Gene Wilder or Matthew Broderick character, who comes in as, I think they were an accountant, I want to say. Yeah. That's kind of like going, my goodness, I mean, let's face it, if you could just get enough investors together, and you could over-invest in it, like by 500%, and it flopped, you could actually make a lot more money on that. Because the investors will realize that it's a flop, consider it a complete loss, but you've funded it at 500 times or 500% of what you were supposed to fund it at, so you just pocket the rest of the money from a flop. The problem is that if it's a hit, now you have to pay back 5 times the amount that it made.
Right.
Right.
And I think that works for that, and I think that's probably what happens with those movies that are flops in other countries because of similar things, which is why you get really shitty superhero movies
Sometimes.
and the like at times where you're like, wow, this is really written off. But I don't think that would work so well in like the gaming space, because then you get something like No Man's Sky,
Oh, sure.
and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this has a ton of investment into it, and the product is subpar, and suddenly everyone's like, well, you told us you were giving us this, we're suing the shit out of you.
Right.
And either you deliver or you give us our money back.
Right. So I don't think that it necessarily works in practice in the real world. It's fun for the premise of the producers, but it doesn't really work for most things. I would also say that there's like Kickstarters that ended up happening where the games were subpar, but they got very funded, very funded. The mighty number 9s of it all that got very funded and then weren't particularly great. But in terms of like things that are bad and then they intend them to be bad, I've seen movies like that, and I feel like they're like not another teen movie sort of movies that just, in their attempt at trying to be bad on purpose, they kind of become bland for the fact that they tried to do it. Like the best bad is where you really wanted this to be like your magnum opus, your grand masterpiece, and it was horrid. And there's something in the genuineness of how bad that Trainwreck was that makes it somehow better.
Right.
I think so. If you're watching something or you're playing something and they intended it to be really stupid, and you're like, well, you succeeded. Because it really, you succeeded. And I guess that's a win. But if you have the ones that are just really bad unintentionally, those are cream of the crop. No one,
Right.
no one who made Balan Wonderland, I think, had any intention of it being a bad game. I think they actually were like, we could make a Mario. Or something like that. You could have different hats, and you could put them on your head. It would be amazing. And then they're like, yeah, you didn't make Mario, my friend. You made an abomination. Good job. I have a tendency, maybe because I don't intentionally play a lot of bad games.
Same. I prefer to not play games that are terrible.
I mean, sometimes I will, if I've heard that a game is bad, like I've heard people really say, this game really shit, I'll be like, okay, I kind of want to play it to find out what that's about. I want to know why it is bad. Like this last year, it was, well, there were probably a couple, but the one that sticks out to me is Dark Alliance. I had heard...
Oh, the new one, yeah.
Yeah, Dark Alliance. And Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance, not Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Whatever.
Which is also now on Steam.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, there's a PC port now. Not that I want to play it on PC, I own it on PlayStation.
Yeah, as long as it's the first Dark Alliance, or the original...
First or second one. Yeah, no, it's that one.
The ARPGs, yeah, not the abomination that they made this time. But... I mean, the truth of the matter is, though, then I got to play it because I was thinking, whoa, I'm going to have one heck of a time enjoying the absolute terribleness. And then I played it and was like, actually, I think this would fall more into the bland category than the bad category.
Right.
I think the reason why it was bad was because it really doesn't do much of anything. But I've played my fair share of games that were just horrid.
Yeah.
And
we made you play DDLC.
Yeah, you did make me play DDLC. Hey, I played Hatful Boyfriend.
You played Hatful Boyfriend.
I did. But more importantly, since we did the free game, I did that free game marathon thing. I played Kattastik. And Kattastik is... Man. It's just... It's the kind of game that's like free, I think, on pretty much every single platform. And I sit there and I think, man, if you ever want to see what a train wreck of a game looks like, just go play that. It's for those who don't know, it's basically like it's supposed to be a cute game, I guess, that's like a platformer, like a classic 2D platformer Mario style, where you have a cute little character and it's supposed to be going along. But my God. It is so, like the very first level is literally like I jump, and then I jump and jump, done, and then you wait longer for the next thing to load. It doesn't automatically go into the next thing. It goes back to a level picker screen, so that you have to pick the next level, and then they'll load the next level in for you. It's just... Yeah.
Here's an example. I played a demo of a game, and I don't remember what it's called right now. And it's like, okay, the premise sounds interesting. You know? So I downloaded the demo and played it. And, like, it's generic Unity-looking game.
Sure.
You know, it's fine. It's whatever. It's fine. But one of the things was at 8 p.m., because it's like a survival-type game where you've got a day-night cycle, and you can only do things during the day. Sure. It's like, all right, you can only do things during the day. At like 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night, you've lost all your energy and you have to sleep. It's like, you can't do anything anymore. You have to go to bed. I'm like, okay, I don't really prefer that kind of thing, because, if it's I run out of energy and I have to sleep to restore the energy, it's one thing, but I don't have like an energy bar. It's just like, yeah, sorry, it's too late in the day for you to do that. I'm like, okay, that's weird. But then you had to go to sleep. But here's the thing. Usually if you sleep in a game, it will go, all right, well, here's a time skip.
Yeah.
To the morning. This game didn't do that. It went, okay, now you've got to watch this thing for like 5 minutes overnight
Mm-hmm.
where you can't do anything at all because you're just sitting there like looking at a campfire or something like that. It's like, I'm like, what's going on? Can I skip this? Can I skip this? Can't skip this. I'm like, I'm just watching the time go by and like game time. I'm like, when do I get to wake up? I'm like, and then it has this screen like end of day summary and it's like, okay. And that's up there for like a minute. I'm like,
Yeah. Can we get to the part where I play the game?
yeah,
That would
I
be
was
great.
like, okay, you didn't offend me when you said I had to sleep at 8 p.m. You know, that's whatever. I can deal with that. You offended me
Right.
in my time when
Yeah.
you said I could not forward the time faster to get through the night and had to wait through a 5 minute nothingness. It's like, okay, well now I guess I'll get up and go pee and get a snack because I can't play my game at
Yeah.
all for this amount of time. And I looked in the like Steam comments and it's like other people are like, yeah, that's unnecessary and pointless and get rid of it.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
Needless to say, I uninstalled the demo and do not plan on purchasing it unless it ever
Ever.
gets better.
Yes.
Ever.
Ever. Was this supposed to be like a survival game?
Kind of, yeah. Like you build stuff and you plant stuff and
Oh, there's
kind
a.
of do stuff.
I feel like survival games are one of those genres that are a minefield for terrible, for the so bad it's good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the survival game that I played that most exemplified that, and I kind of wish it was even worse, so that I would have more interest in talking about it, was Conan Exiles from a few years back.
Oh.
Conan Exiles is one of those games that will make you wait for freaking ever to do anything at all. I started my own world just so that I could have like 10x collection and time frames. So like I sped everything up that I would need to speed up by 10 times.
Yeah.
And still
Jesus.
to just get like charcoal or to have something like I had to wait like 30 minutes to an in-game hour for stuff to happen. There was this whole thing where you were supposed to have these little guys go around and like you were trying to like break their will, or you were trying to make they were making something at one of the factory posts. I swear, and I'm at 10x time frame. The timer on this to make the one thing was like 8 hours.
Time gating's a thing.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there kind of like going, are you telling me that this would be like 80 hours? Not in-game hours. Real world hours. Where I'm just like, I don't plan to play. I'll be done playing the game by the time these timers are off.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. So there was that. But yeah, survival games feel like they lend themselves mostly to that. I never really appreciated those. So in some ways, I feel like there are games that were so bland, I really wanted them to be worse. Like, if you're just gonna lean into it, just lean into it.
Yeah. If you're
Yeah.
gonna make something terrible, lean into it. So
Make Super
much.
Benbow Quest.
yeah, make Super Benbow Quest,
Yeah.
which is so fucking
It's crazy
great
time.
because it's so ridiculous.
Exactly.
I know you got frustrated with it at the end of it and towards some of it, but like
Yeah.
it didn't take itself seriously at all.
And it is mercifully short if you can get
Yeah.
through the actual the things where I have to like jump in one direction and then kind of like try to curve back just slightly to reach the invisible ledge.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
And it was like, it didn't take itself seriously and it was ridiculous enough, I think, that the humor in it
Mhm.
made up for much of it.
Right. The fact that it was just very odd. Like
It was just
throughout.
fucking balls to the wall,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it certainly
But
is.
it was. I thought you'd enjoy it because of the ridiculousness of it.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
where you're Mr. Skellebones.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Skeletons.
You've got a skeleton made of skeleton heads.
Yeah, yeah. Just the giant skeleton head in the sky. That was actually my favorite part. The big bad guy that just comes up. Yo, fucker! Like, it's out of nowhere, just angry for no reason whatsoever.
Right. In that game, and obviously it's super much a troll game.
Oh yeah.
But it's also just like, okay, you did not take this was you not being serious, but also being serious, and they leaned into their game entirely.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what makes that good.
Sure. Sure.
As opposed to bland, as opposed to bad, it's just like, all right, this is interesting. It's got a premise. It leaned so hard into it.
Right.
It's like, this is potentially so bad that it's good.
Right. There's also the whole thing where it's potentially so bad that it just becomes performance art. Like it becomes basic. It's sort of like how the Jackass movie, when it originally premiered, it was at the Museum of Modern Art, because it's you don't remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, MoMA hosted the actual premiere of the original Jackass movie, because in some ways it's like, yes, this is so absolutely ridiculous. It's sort of artistic in its own way. Like it's just a piece of art.
Wow.
It's the banana stuck to a wall that ends up selling for so much money.
It's the stuff that looks like trash on the art exhibit floor that is actually the exhibit, and the janitor cleaned it up.
Yeah, exactly. So basically what I'm saying is that, like, Super Benbo Quest is the dadism of video gaming. it's a dadist video game movement. There's something out there for that. I don't know if we're really going to see versions of, like, The Room but in video game form. I think that maybe it's a little bit harder to do that as it is in movies, where it's just so surreal that you're watching it as when you're playing it. I haven't had that experience before.
Fair.
I kind of like the idea of just, like, having a video game where all you do is just, like, throw forks, or you throw spoons at your enemies. That would be pretty sweet.
You should just play Superliminal.
Oh, I have to play Superliminal, actually. I still have to do
Good.
that.
You should do that sometime. It's crazy.
Yeah, I love that kind of puzzle game, too.
Yeah.
Those are always fun. It reminds me a little bit of, like, Portal or Quantum Conundrum, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, was there anything else on this topic we needed to cover?
No, but you know what? It's
Or is...
Oh. Go ahead.
Or have we been so bad at this that
We
it's
have.
good?
Well, as long as we weren't bland.
True.
We can be as bad as we want as long as it's not bland.
Yeah, we gotta be a little bit spicy.
Gotta be spicy.
Gotta add that little bit of nutmeg.
Gotta all the nutmeg. Yeah.
Well, not all the nutmeg. That is poison.
Yes, and also you will fail in Cooking Simulator. Found that out. This is a crit think, though. We do have to pass a question along to everybody else. And I think that the question is probably just going to be, what would you consider to be a bad game that you liked? And
A bad
why?
game that you loved, and why?
The bad game that you loved, and why?
Good question. I'll have to think of that myself.
Yeah, we'll have to come up with
so-
something.
Maybe we'll have a Saturday special for this one later.
Yeah. And also, who defines what the bad game is? I guess that's...
Me! I define who's...
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. You have to define that the game... That you can define that you know the game is bad in your own opinion, but you still really liked playing it. You loved it nonetheless. If you have answers to that, you can join us over in Discord or leave comments down below in the video.